Dant Crossing, Gethsemane, Kentucky. Timeless hospitality that stirs the spirit. Dant Crossing is a one-of-a-kind destination for unforgettable weddings, memorable corporate events, day trips, and weekend getaways. The pastoral campus is anchored by Logstill Distillery and includes an amphitheater that seats 2,000, a 12-acre lake for fishing and unique lodging options, creating an immersive experience that's rooted in the community and culture of our little slice of Kentucky. More attractions will open soon at Dant Crossing, including our 21,000 square foot distillery, which we will have the ability to produce 15,000 barrels of spirit each year, a network of wooded walking trails, fully functional private train depot, farm-to-table restaurant, and the Legacy, a premier wedding and events venue. Whether you're looking to host an event, book a stay, or reserve a tasting, we're ready to welcome you. Learn more at dantcrossing.com. The recording is in progress.
All right.
Here we are.
We're live.
I've been all over the fucking place all this whole week. I can't believe how much content that the Scotchy Bourbon Boys are producing. Welcome to the start of the YouTube video. We always give a little bit of extra content on YouTube. We are waiting for Super Nash to jump in, but
Super Nash had too much last night at the live tasting.
I'm going to give him one more effort. It's kind of making me a little bit nervous. It's not like him to miss out on a sample supplied podcast,
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean,
usually he's supplying us.
Right. And when we supply him, he's usually, unless he's just sleeping away. But that's okay. Well, effort. He knows how to get in. He knows he has all the information if he pops in our podcast.
Hi, you've reached Marty at AV.
There we go. We got him on message. Doesn't look like he's jumping in today. He knows 10 o'clock is when we were going to start. But I'm excited. How about you? Now,
Oh yeah, always excited.
have you cheated, sir?
Have I what?
Have you cheated? Have you
No,
tried it already?
I have not cheated. It's still wrapped up.
You're gonna show my rapping prowess, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, this is Hibiki. Now, these Saturday morning podcasts all will have a little background noise compared to you're going to hear a 5-year-old, or you could actually even hear some arguing going on upstairs. But we like to keep it real here on the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. That's for sure, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what we're about. We're real and uncut.
But it comes in this nice box.
Yeah, it's a beautiful box.
Gorgeous decanter bottle. And, this is, I would have to say, I tasted it off my fingers when I was filling up the samples. So I've had a little bit of the whiskey. I didn't actually sip it because I wasn't pouring it in a Glencairn or anything. Now, the one thing that I think now that this is going to be our second Japanese whiskey podcast.
That's correct. Yep.
But the first one, I think it went over pretty well. I do believe, and it was Hibiki too, right? It was from the Suntory. Well, obviously from Suntory, but it was the Toki. It was Toki. It was Toki from Suntory. This is Hibiki, yes.
Yeah.
And I think
this is the more renowned one. The other one was kind of a.
This is a blend, but I think the Hibiki also has age statement 15 and 16 year that I see on the shelf at the moment. This is a sought after whiskey, but not here in Canton, Ohio. Usually, the price it's a little pricey. I believe I got this for Christmas for my wife, which was a nice surprise. But I believe this one was $169. So that's pricey for people who haven't
Yeah,
tried it
that's
before.
yeah, it's a pretty pricey bottle, but there's a reason for it, and most of it is due to, which I'm gonna kind of go off of what you were saying there, is they did have a total of 4 expressions. So they had a 12-year, they had a 17-year, a 21-year, and even a 30-year is what I found. But the 12-year and the 17-year are no longer in production, so they discontinued it. So the prices on those are going way up. So if you're looking for it, you're pretty much gonna have to go secondary market.
But I do think they replaced those with the 15 and 16 because that's just new on the shelf in the last couple weeks.
I mean, that's possible. They could have had other expressions out, or like a limited release or something. But on the Suntory website, it doesn't list it at all as a 15 or a 16-year. But I do know that the 12-year version was discontinued in 2015, whereas the 17-year they stopped producing it in 2018, which is one of the articles that I found that we'll be reading for the podcast. So
awesome. We'll go a couple more minutes and then we'll get ready to start. Hopefully Super Nash will jump in at one point. It's concerning a little bit, but yeah. All right. So I'm set. One of the things, I've got my whiskey tasting guide that I had, the tasting journal. I find it, what I've been trying to do is do this and then transfer it into my whiskey log.
That makes sense.
So that's what I've been doing so far. We are going to barrel bash this, so I should probably grab the barrel and the hammer.
Well, that works because I still have to go get my Glencairn.
All right.
All right.
Let's get that there.
Nice, clean, Scotchy Bourbon Boy Glencairn glass.
All right. What is it? Yeah, we could get ready to start. I will get everything. I got my queue up on my phone. I've got that. So we will start the Scotchy Bourbon Boy Morning Harmony podcast.
Yes. Morning Harmony. I like that.
All right, here we go.
Spirits of French Lick is proud to introduce the Matty Gladden Bottled and Bond Bourbon. This 4-year aged bourbon is double pot distilled and non-chill filtered and has a full-bodied mouthfeel with eucalyptus, molasses, clove, ginger, and slight citrus as well as grains of paradise. The finish is long and reappearing on the back of the tongue with notes of pepper, tobacco leaf, and mint green. All of our spirits are available for tasting and purchase inside the French Lick Winery and Distillery. Spirits of French Lick. Respect the grain, please enjoy responsibly, and be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
Oh, show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. Show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. For if we don't find the next whiskey bar, I tell you we must die. I tell you we must die. I tell you, I tell you, I tell you we must die.
All right. Welcome back to another podcast of the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. I'm Tiny, and
Young Nose. Yes, it's
We're-
great to be back again for another podcast.
we're podcasting. It's kind of cool. We're getting this down. We get to talk a little bit before, and we're doing the podcast remotely. It's not as good as sitting together, but you know, when things happen, you kind of work it out. And I think we're starting to get this part down.
Yeah, I would agree, definitely. The more we do it, the better we'll get at it for sure.
Yeah, I find that that's been happening lately. I've been on what would you say, a roll with technical difficulties, but we've worked through them. So let's just hope that in this particular podcast, we just don't cut out in the middle like we have in the last two.
Yeah, that's true. Well, don't worry, we're not talking Irish whiskey today, so my research will be in on this one.
Yeah, you'll be able to get it in on this one, not just cut out completely. I remember that day. You had done so much research. You put it in. I'm just like, I'm sorry, but none of it got in because it didn't really.
Yeah.
Oh my God! But it still was a podcast, right?
I know, it still was a fun night.
Oh yeah, yeah. A night of trouble. That's what that was.
Yeah, that's true.
We haven't done an Irish whiskey podcast since because
No, we haven't.
stayed away from that.
I don't think the significant others would appreciate that.
Yeah, or if we're gonna do it, we might do it here and just pick one.
Yeah,
One
yeah,
is
there you
okay.
go.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Just picking one. We are the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. You can check us out on the web at www.scotchybourbonboys.com. If you're there, find out all about the Whiskey Live. We did a Whiskey Live last night, very successful. We're now a little bit more professional than we've been back. It's every second and fourth Friday. So the next Friday will be January 28th, and we will be tasting Eagle Rare. So mark that on your calendar, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Eagle Rare is what we will be tasting on Whiskey Live. And then also, if you're there, the top right hand corner, there is the Patreon button. It's the easiest way to get there so you can support us, the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. There's Glencairns available through the support. There is the Scotchy
T-shirts.
Bourbon Boys t-shirts. We have posting chips. Then we also have tasting with Scotchy Bourbon Boys. A whole mess of ways of supporting the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. Please check out the Patreon. We are on all the major podcast formats, but if you listen to us on that podcast format, please subscribe, like, and comment. That's how we get bigger, because people are liking what they, and commenting what they, enjoy. So please do that to help us out. And then we are on Instagram, the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. We are on Twitter at under the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. We also are on YouTube, the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. And if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. Our goal is to get, by the end of this year, 1,000 subscribers. We're at 155. So tell your friends, tell your relatives, anybody who likes whiskey, if you like what you're seeing on YouTube, please ask them. Pretty much everybody's on YouTube these days, even on your TV. You can watch us on, click us up. So let people know. It would be nice to meet that goal by the end of the year. And we tend to be meeting goals lately here on the Scotchy Bourbon Boys and then also you could find us on Facebook, the Facebook group and page, but the group is the big thing where you get all the information. You get all the information on our meetings. You get all the information on what our members are drinking. You get all the information on some of the top writers, Fred Minnick, Michael Veach. We post and put up articles and things like that. Also, Whiskey Fellow, who does 2 tastings, he writes about 2 whiskeys pretty much a week. Awesome Scotchy Bourbon Boy. And then you can also, through the Facebook group, get to know some of the master distillers that are producing this great whiskey. Greg Schneider's a Scotchy Bourbon Boy. He was on the tasting last night. You got Alan Bishop. You got Jolie. I mean, there's so much that goes on within the group that it's just fantastic. So check out the Facebook group and ask to be a part of it. We'll let you in And then the last thing is we have meetings, and our next meeting is February 4th at the Barrel Room in North Canton on Cleveland Avenue. I'm going to find out what we're going to be tasting, but we are welcoming back in person live.
Young Nose
Young
is
Nose.
coming.
He is coming.
Yes, I will be there for that meeting. I'm so looking forward to that.
He will be there. So he'll be back doing what he always does, bringing us his insight and knowledge of whiskey, but also working as hard as he possibly can to stay sober enough so that he can make the next day.
Yes, the next day is quite important.
Yes, that's for sure. So with that said, just check us out.
Hey,
We appreciate
yeah.
all the support that we get.
You definitely hit that very well, Tiny. So you're definitely doing better on those plugs. So what are we tasting today then?
We are tasting Hibiki Japanese whiskey harmony. It comes in this I don't know if it's hand painted, but this painted beautiful decanter bottle.
Yeah, that is very pretty. Very,
that's
very
one
pretty.
thing. It comes with this box. It comes.
My
with
bottle doesn't look
nice
so
box.
impressive.
Well, you did get a sample, and that was
I know.
that was to ensure your sample didn't leak all over, and then someone smell it and us get in trouble.
You're right.
They asked the FedEx driver if he's been drinking.
Yeah, that might not be a good thing.
No, but the packaging was good. Sent that down. I believe I sent. Is that all? I sent you a couple samples. Right?
Oh yeah. There's some more in there for some more future podcasts.
Right. And then we'll probably come up with more. You gotta. Since you've been gone, my collection has just gotten so much bigger faster because I don't have you here helping me drink it. I just drink one aspect when it used to be two. So
yeah, that's true. Well, I'll have to make up for that when I come down on February. Come up in February.
Yes. All right. So I'm going to be recording this in my. I love to do the paper notes, my whiskey tasting journal. It covers, and now when we're going to barrel bash this, and our barrel bashing system is a little bit different lately. We've changed it because I decided that I wanted to change it because it just makes sense to change things. Me, I don't like to do things over and over monotonously. But just like how we came up with the butt up. I mean, it wasn't
exactly right.
It wasn't a butt up. I mean, it was it evolved.
Yeah, that's the better way of putting it. But yeah. That was a fun podcast to listen to.
Yeah. I think that was the one with me and my wife on the back. We did it on the back porch on vacation. We put in a short podcast, and
the butt up was born.
Yes, the butt up was born. So the Scotchy Bourbon Boys barrel bashing rating system consists of four categories: the nose, taste, body, finish. Then for each category, you give a number of barrel bashes. For the nose, which I felt wasn't quite as important when you're drinking whiskey. It's good to have a nice nose and everything, but I've had a bad nose on a whiskey, but the whiskey tasted delicious. So I think I would go and just keep drinking that. So the nose has you can give 4 barrel bashes. Then for the taste, which I think is one of the more important things, that's a 5. Then the body is also a 4. You can give 4 total because how much the taste fills your mouth. I mean, you can just drink more and fill your mouth with more taste. Okay. But I agree the body's, but it's not as important as the taste. And then the finish, I always find, and was the hardest one for me to learn, but it's the most important because when you're done drinking whiskey, that's what's left in your mouth. I mean, so that finish taste that's left that lasts the longest after you're finished. That's what it hangs out with, and that's going to be just like anything else. You can really screw up like throughout, but at the end, if you really nail it and you win the game, it doesn't matter. You threw 3 interceptions before that, you won the game. So the finish is very important. So that you also can give a 5. But then in any one of the categories, you think it's exceptionable, you can barrel bash one more, but up. So that does a total of 19 out of 18 for a perfect whiskey, unless you're on our Bourbon of the Year podcast, where I was losing my mind. It's a good podcast to listen to, because
it was a good one. Yeah.
What Xavier and I got into was a pretty good. He played a play. I played a play. He played a play, but I had the last play, so it worked out the best. And then when I changed my mind,
then you just came back with another one. Said, nope, I'm sorry, I got to put this one in there too.
Yeah, and I wanted to put the Spirit of French Lick in there, but I didn't have it. So now that I have it, it's awesome.
Yeah, that William Dalton is really, really good bourbon.
But
it's probably one of the better ones.
With the stave, it's just so delicious. I mean, it's just a chocolatey, and so I put it up against Race King. I mean, that was the next podcast, and then I rated Race King the way it should have been rated, not with all my extra.
Yeah,
I was going in that podcast. Yeah, it's like when we're on the Scotchy Bourbon Boys podcast, it's like me and you have the ability. It's our world. It's like, and we can say we don't give a fuck about rules. We have rules, but we can break them because it's our world. It's like,
exactly.
When we leave this podcast, right, we have to go live within rules within the world. So why do we say, why we can have rules? I just made rules for this podcast so we could just break them.
Well, because that's what's exciting, right?
Yeah, because you go out and you break rules, you can get arrested, and you know what I mean, or you feel
that's no fun.
You know. It's like, it's not fun. It's stressful breaking rules in the real world. But here, breaking rules, I make the rules to be broken. So it's not stressful. It's actually fucking lots of fun.
Right. That's true.
All right. So there we go. So what you got on this wonderful Japanese, it's this decanter is made for putting whiskey in, maybe an infinity bottle or whatever, into the future. Really super nice topper.
I really enjoy that bottle. I didn't really get to see it well when you'd sent me the picture what we would be trying out today, but that bottle, with it being a decanter bottle, is pretty much that, and what the whiskey would taste like to me would be a great deal as far as the price on that, just because that's a bottle that you could keep and reuse over and over again, even if it's not the original Hibiki whiskey that's in it. You know what I mean?
Well, I find with these decanters, right? Like you get another great decanter bottle is IW Harper 15 year. I've got probably 4 of them now because my wife loves that whiskey. I can't throw the bottle away. Same thing with the Race King. It's in a decanter bottle with a rabbit on it. You know, these and the one behind me, the Wild Turkey that's right up there, that's in a decanter. So they got these heavy, cork toppers and all this, and you don't want to throw them away. But what would be a cool idea is that then they take the Wild Turkey, this is Masters Keep 1, and they sell plastic bags of it. And then you just buy the plastic bag for a quarter of the price, because most of it went into the decanter as far as the 100. So let's say it's $189. Well, they sell the plastic bag full of the whiskey, 750 milliliters in a plastic bag with a little pour top, and you just keep filling your decanter. Now that would be freaking cool.
Huh. Yeah, that's an interesting idea.
Especially with this glass shortage,
right.
It would save a lot if they could put it in that. They age it, they put it in the bag, but they have a nice box, and you basically buy that as a refill for your
decanter bottle. Huh. You're onto something there, Tiny. That's a really good idea. There's gonna be a distiller listening to this podcast, like, hey, that's genius.
I mean, they
you gotta
have-
copyright it. Come on, you gotta do it.
They have whiskey and vodka in boxes, which are in plastic bags in a box. So
Right.
why? I mean,
And wine, yeah.
they'd have to come up with a plastic that was designed to hold the whiskey that wouldn't change the taste. I mean, but I
Yeah.
know that that's a possibility.
Oh yeah.
So they come up with that, and then you just basically keep refilling your decanter. That would change a lot of things. That would also save on, those.
Mhm.
It would all be recyclable, the box and the what you call it, and that would be kind of
Mhm.
cool. I think just get refills.
Yep. Yeah, that's actually really cool. That's an interesting thought.
Oh, this is so.
I see. Yeah, you already poured some.
Well, of course I did, because we're getting there. We're here. You're opening. You're going to be doing a little bit. You got some history. I've got
Yep.
stuff on this.
Yeah, I don't know. I got some stuff, not necessarily history. History of the Japanese was in our first podcast, so this one's more or less just based off of the specific bottle that we have today.
Yeah.
But quick recap. So this is made by the Suntory brand distillery, now known as Beam Suntory, since they combined together.
Mhm.
But this Hibiki whiskey is a mixture of different whiskey. So it's a blend. It's a blended whiskey, similar to a blended Scotch, and it's a mixture of 10 different whiskeys, which are both malt and grains, coming from the Suntory's different distilleries that they have: the Yamazaki, the Hakushu, and the Chita distilleries. And so it's a mixture of malt and grains put together. Unfortunately, no matter where I could go to try and find something, the mash bills and the age statements of all of the different whiskeys are undisclosed, so we don't really know the percentages of what's in them, but we get to experience the result, which is a nice, delicious, elegant blended whiskey.
Mhm.
And what makes Japanese whiskey so special is they have their own special rare oak tree that they use. So in this mixture, they have 5 different oaks that they use to age the different whiskeys in the various distilleries. But the rare Japanese is the Mizunara. The Mizunara Oak is their signature aging barrel. And I found on a website, I think it was the Whiskey Wash, was that if you were to try and buy a full barrel of whiskey from the distillery, it would run you about $6,000 just for one barrel.
For the barrel itself, empty.
Yeah, for the barrel. Yeah.
Used or new?
I don't know.
Yeah, I know that.
Probably used.
I know that Rabbit Hole had their $1,500 a bottle Founders Collection limited release. That was in those barrels. It was aged in those barrels. But yes, it's not $6,000 for a barrel. Is opposed to right now. I think they're selling for like high 200s, low 300s per barrel. So.
Yep. Yeah, and that's mainly due, like some recap from our history, I guess, as from the last podcast. That's mainly due to just the strict enforcement of the trees in Japan. It's like they have to be aged, like the tree itself has to be aged for like 100 years before you can even do anything with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And there's not very many of them, so
Right.
getting
There's
the
not
oak
a lot
is
of land in
extremely rare.
Japan.
Yeah.
It's because
Mhm.
the amount of people that live on the island and the amount of space there's just not a lot of land for trees to grow.
That's correct. Yep. So, but other than that, we still get to experience some nice whiskey, but as well as a rarity with trees. The whiskey itself is becoming more and more rare. At the beginning, before in our YouTube special content, I was talking about the lineup for the Hibiki used to be a 12-year, a 17-year, a 21-year, and a 30-year expression. In 2015, the 12-year expression was discontinued. They stopped producing it. And then again in 2018, the 17-year expression was discontinued. This information I collected from a Forbes magazine that was published in 2018. Because of the shortages in supply is the reason why that they're discontinuing the expressions. And that was mostly due in part to some extent in the 1980s. There was consumer demand in Japan for whiskey had declined, but there was a rise in what's known as a shochu, which is a distilled beverage using miscellaneous ingredients. There's some that you can use buckwheat and sweet potatoes and carrots and rice and grains and brown sugar and whatever, whatever you can get your hands on to ferment and distill whiskey is what this shochu was. And in the 80s, it was becoming popular. So as a reaction to that, the distillers here at the at Suntory basically made a mandate to reduce the amount of production, probably just to carry over for overhead, and they don't want to keep making whiskey if they can't sell it, whatever. It was an immediate response to a decision that is now probably going to bite them in the butt, because globally Japanese whiskey has become on a rise, just as bourbon has here in the States. So Japanese whiskey is definitely in high demand. It's very sought after. It's, but because they have such supply shortages, they're running into this situation where they can't produce the aged whiskeys that they could. So they have to try to do something with their younger stuff, which is where they came with the master blender, Shinji Fukuyo came up with the idea of this Hibiki Harmony whiskey, which introduces some younger stuff. We can only assume that because there's really no age statement on how young it is, but there's some older there's got to be some older expression in there too to keep the flavor profile, that sort of thing. But it basically was their way of trying to recover from having to shut down their 12 and 17 years, which was a very popular expression for their whiskey. And so we have here the Hibiki Harmony expression.
Because this was they say on the box that it was launched in the brand was launched in 1989, which would probably make sense in what you were saying, because it started the shortage was in the 80s, so at 1989 they decided to start blending to extend out what they had, and they're probably, when you cut off the year, when you're cutting off the 12 and the, what was the other 17, right? Or
12 and 17. Yep.
Now that you're basically letting that young whiskey, because you're not producing it right now, you're letting the young whiskey catch up so that the demand can be met in the future, that you just don't produce it that year or the next year, or I think you said in 2018, or was it 16 that they cut it off?
It was 2018 was when they stopped the 17 year.
Now, like I said, I think I saw a 16, definitely Hibiki 16, and I'm not sure if it's 17 or 18, but those are on the shelves at the moment.
Yeah, I thought I seen an 18 year myself, but
right.
I'm not sure if those are limited expressions that they did, kind of like a distiller's release, or if that's something that, but on the Suntory website, if you go on there right now, the only ones that are on there as far as displayed are the Harmony, the 17 year, which I'm not sure why it's still there, and the 21 year. Okay. So I don't know what happened to the 30 year. I don't know if that one probably just went by the wayside, because like you said, all the older stuff was used up.
Yeah.
But
well, and they got to let the young stuff start catching up before they can offer, a 30-year expression. Yeah. Although aging whiskey at 30 years in Japan is not like aging 30 years in Kentucky.
Right.
I know that Fred and Freddie talked about when Fred went over there to work on the Legion. Is it Legion?
Yes, Legion. Yep.
Legion.
That was between Freddie and or Fredno
Fred
and
and
Shinji.
Shinji, and
Yeah.
what they were expecting when they put it in the barrel for it to take 3-4 years, and after a year and a half, it was ready. That's how fast it aged, quicker than what the Japanese thought, it would age. So Shinji was, introduced to Kentucky barrel aging and the speed that it does in that climate, that perfect climate. When you have a more neutral climate that doesn't have a lot of ups and downs, it's going to age a lot less. And then the same thing in a cold weather climate. So kind of cool. So I got tasting notes off the box. Did you get tasting notes from the website, or do you have it off somebody else's?
Yes, I have tasting notes from, I believe it's Master of Malt. Let me double check. Hold on. Yes, from Master of Malt. I didn't get that on my thing here. So their tasting notes is the nose is red berries, green apples, and layers of rich honey. The palate is melted butter, caramelized dates, and hints of fragrant sandalwood that develops into a warm oak spice. And the finish is brown sugar with citrus peel, white grapes, and black pepper.
All right. So the color is amber. So most Japanese whiskeys are light. And the same thing with Irish whiskeys and scotches. I find most of them are light compared to but that's a nice, it looks like a beer, the color of beer, right?
Yeah. It does look like the color of beer.
Now,
It's got like a nice...
The thing about what I noticed about this and what's so cool about our Glencairns, do I pour too much? Yes, I poured too much. Is that in your glass, this has a really nice viscosity to it. It sticks to the wall of that Glencairn so beautifully, and then turns into these giant thick legs. I mean, it flows down. This is what you want.
Look at that.
Yeah, exactly. This is what you want in a whiskey when it comes to what it does in your glass. I mean, this is like unbelievable, right? And it's clear.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like if you went in there and just touched it, that your finger would stick to the. Yeah, it does. It actually it sticks there like a little sticky. But I mean, those legs are just so freaking awesome. My one leg has drips, like on the end is a big thick drip, and normally that doesn't do that.
Yeah.
That's what it did in the glass is a perfection score. I mean, that's just kind of like what you want a whiskey to do.
Yeah, that gets you excited to dive in.
Yeah. So this nose on the tasting notes on the side of the box, rose, lychee, hint of rosemary, mature woodiness, and sandalwood. So
I have a guest.
Yes, you always have a guest.
A little furry guest.
So the palate, they say, is honey-like sweetness. I don't know what honey-like sweetness is, but candied orange peel, white chocolate. And then the finish is subtle, tender, long finish with hints of what the Japanese oak. What do you say it? Mizunara.
Yeah.
Mizunara with hints of Mizunara. That's what they got there. And then just from the side of the box, it said Hibiki is the paragon of harmony. Launched in 1989 to commemorate Suntory's philosophy of living in harmony with the people and nature. The name Hibiki means Renaissance in Japanese. Suntory whiskey Hibiki resonates with the subtleties of nature infused by 24 seasons of Japan's traditional calendar and reflected in the 24 facets of its bottle design. It's kind of cool.
And the Hibiki word is resonance, not renaissance. Resonance.
Resonance. Okay, thank you. I'll take Renaissance for 20. Shut the hell up, Trebek.
Yeah.
Thank you for the correction.
You're not a problem.
I read that in true tiny fucking fashion.
Well, don't worry. When I first saw that word too, I was thinking Renaissance too, and I'm like, no, that's not spelt the same way.
Resonance. So yeah, you mentally did it. I just did it on the podcast.
Resonance. Yeah.
It's actually residency. I'm doing residency on the podcast.
Yeah.
That's what it stands for. Yeah.
We're becoming Japanese residents.
Yeah. All right. So let's give this the
I
nose.
really like the nose on this one. This one's nice.
Yeah, it has, like, in my opinion, it has some aspects of a beer. Like when you smell a really good, rich, hopsy beer, there's a little bit of that smell in there. I don't know what you would call it, but I get that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And then I get a little bit of honey, and I'm getting a little bit of oak. I don't get much ethanol, and then I get that kind of fermenting, maybe a fermenting pear. Just that sourness, that little bit of. It's not a bad. It's like the good part of when you're smelling something that's being fermented.
Right. Yeah. It's still sweet, but still has that almost cleaner kind of a smell.
All right.
At least that's what I smell when I smell for my oranges I left out on my basket too long.
There you go.
But yeah, no, I would agree. The nose is very subtle. There's not a whole lot of sweetness on the smell, which is not unpleasant, but it's definitely different, and it's more of a floral, kind of a fruity. I definitely can agree with the Masters of Malt when they said red berries. Off my first sniff, towards the top, it does kind of have like a dry raspberry kind of a smell, but not as sweet as you would think a raspberry would be. But
yeah. Maybe it's one of those red poisonous berries on the bush.
the bird bush.
Yeah,
the bird berries.
I always eat those.
Yeah.
That explains a fucking lot, don't it?
Yeah, you said it, not me.
I did.
So, but I like this, and I get also a little bit of that. You said on the box it said hints of rosemary, so kind of like an herbal spice.
Yeah, I might get the rosemary a little bit. I do.
Yeah, it's tucked away in there, but it's there.
I should go outside on my holly bush and pick the little red berries and squish them and smell them. And then I can be like, "Ooh, I smell holly berries." Yeah.
Oh my God!
Who knows what a holly
shove
berry?
It up your there. Yeah, right.
It's only poisonous if you eat it, not if you sniff it.
Yeah, right. That's true. All right. So are we rating the nose and moving on, or are we going on to the taste?
Let's taste, and then we'll rate in the end. Because sometimes you come back to it and it gets better.
Mm.
Holy shit. Wow, that has a huge body. That is a full mouth experience.
Yeah, that's a full face experience. That was nice.
For 86 proof. I mean,
I know.
Come on.
We had last night 93 proof on that 1910 Old Forester, and the spice on it, the body of it wasn't.
It's actually pulling in a hug too. I mean,
yeah,
there's some warmth going on, which sometimes with the Hibiki did not have much of a hug at all.
That Toki, yeah.
Yes, thank you, Toki.
The Tobiki. You're just
I'm mixing them together.
you're combining everything.
I love. Never mind. This is my Glenn sharing. No, even the finish. I taste the rosemary on the back palate. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like
I got. Oh, go ahead.
the honey-like sweetness. I think it's sweet as shit on the front. When you put that in the front of your mouth and kind of take it around before you go to move it to your back palate, this hits all the notes, front, mid, and back palate, and then gets to the back of your throat for the finish and just clings there as much as it's in your mouth. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes it tries to cling and it goes down and you lose the flavors off the back of your throat. But in the finish now, the back of your throat, you're pulling.
Mm-hmm. It's coming right back up. I know exactly what you mean, and I would agree.
There's almost
In the front.
a menthol-y taste like to it. Like there's some menthol
Yeah.
in there. You get that? Like,
Yeah, like right in here.
yeah, that's what I mean. It's right at there.
Yeah,
And
right,
it's like,
right at the back. Yeah. But yeah, this is interesting.
I would say
So-
so.
Yeah.
I'm pleasantly surprised. It's like, again, when you get so involved with the bourbons and the ryes, and then you start to branch out, sometimes I find whiskey to be thin but good. You know, there's a ton of scotches that are thin, but we just keep picking stuff that just surprises us. Like, I mean, like the Johnny Walker High Rye. I mean, that bottle is going to be gone, and
Yeah.
I don't know if I think we're going
Mine-
to change the whiskey of the Scotchy Bourbon Boys at the meetings from Johnny Walker Blue to the
Johnny
High
Walker
Rye.
High Rye. Yeah.
Because that High Rye, and it's not just because of cost, it's because of solid taste. You add that rye to a Scotch, and there's not a lot of people doing that, and that is some wonderful shit.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with
I'm
that.
sure that price is going to go up as people find out about it. It's going to go up with the Johnny Walkers.
Yeah.
Because there's just no way. I drink that out. I drink that. If I'm out or whatever, I would definitely pick that. The price differential is well worth the difference of a little bit it falls short of Blue. I mean, in body, it blows Blue away.
Yeah.
You know? So anyways, let's get back to
Yeah.
that.
And yeah, back to Hibiki. That was a podcast for another time. We already did that one. But I understand what you're saying. It's like, this is definitely a surprised whiskey. I based off of what we had tasted with the Toki, I wasn't really sure what to expect with this. I just know that a lot of people have been like renowned, like the Hibiki brand has been renowned, and everybody wants it. And I can understand why now. This is actually very, very good whiskey.
I just on the second good taste, I'm picking up some vanilla too, and I all of a sudden there, and I know what they're saying.
On the taste, you said?
Yeah, on the taste, it's like, I don't know. My palate has switched from chocolate to vanilla pudding lately, and I've been
Yeah, you said that last night.
yeah, and it's just like I'm picking up not vanilla pudding, but I really am tasting the little bit of vanilla that's in this. So that's really kind of cool.
Yeah, now going back to the nose after the taste, I get kind of that creamy vanilla smell on the nose. I haven't made a second taste yet. I'm still lingering on with the finish because I really like that finish, but the nose definitely got a little sweeter, a little creamier than the first time around.
This is a nighttime before bed pour. After you brushed your teeth, then you can just fall asleep with this wonderful taste in your mouth. You know?
Yeah, I know.
I can't believe how long this finish is. It's got to be like 2-3 minutes long. I still have a little bit of the hug.
Yeah, the taste on this is incredible. I just get a nice sweetness all around. You get a little bit of that, some more of that floral, a little bit of that pepper taste. For me, in the back palate, it's more of the black pepper rather than the rosemary, which I had on the smell. It's a little spicy. It's got a nice mouth feel, nice body, nice, you know. It clings to your tongue, it clings to your cheeks, the back of your mouth, the roof of your mouth. You know, you don't really have to swirl it around too much to get that sensation.
Not at all.
And then the back of the throat palate, you know, there's a little bit of wood, but there's like this sweetness that's all throughout. And so
You
that
know-
must be that honey-like sweetness, but
You know
it's
what?
not quite as thick as honey. But
It's not vanilla. It's white chocolate.
yeah, there you go.
That's what they said. And that when I read white chocolate again, it's what I'm getting. I'm picking up that white chocolate. So I gotta remember that vanilla flavor without the pudding aspect, like vanilla pudding is white chocolate. You know, I'm going to add that to my
This makes sense.
because I make the white chocolate Scotchy bourbon balls, and
Mm-hmm.
it's right there with the white chocolate.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was promoting your balls the other day.
I got big ones.
Yeah. Yeah, it was actually at I don't remember where we were. Oh, it was for Christmas dinner, and somebody had brought these bourbon truffles. Yeah, somebody made, and I tried them, and they were pretty good. And I'm like, these aren't like Jeff's balls.
You bastard.
Jeff's bourbon balls are delicious.
The bourbon balls, someone who bought them got them and had them on New Year's and said that they didn't really taste too much bourbon in them. So
Yeah.
they took out bourbon spiked eggnog and dipped them in the bourbon spiked eggnog and she said they were fantastic having the extra eggnog, the bourbon. And I'm just like, girl, if you're not tasting the bourbon on this, I mean, what the hell are you drinking regularly? Because
Yeah, right.
bourbon on those are even to me this time. I mean, maybe I need to up it.
I don't know if you can up it anymore.
You can actually add more bourbon when you actually make them.
Yeah,
You could probably
like add bourbon to your sugar powder mixture.
and back off maybe a little bit on the butt. I don't know. There's something in there, as far as moisture is everything for that middle, and
Yeah.
it can't be like liquidy because you got to roll them.
Yeah.
The middle has to be rollable, but we've definitely found out the moisture that you make the middle, the longer they last before they start to dry out. They if you get them and they're in the refrigerator, it's like 2 weeks, and then that's about the shelf life of them.
Gotcha.
All right, so are we ready to do some barrel bashing? We already
I think so.
went over that. Wait, I gotta see. Is it go on this one? Yeah, there we go. We'll cover that up a little bit better that way. I've got my trusty barrel supplied to us by Young Nose. Today's tasting, we are tasting in Scotchy Bourbon Boys Glencairns, and that we give a shout out to Martin Duffy, our Glencairn North American glass representative, who became a Scotchy Bourbon Boys and helped us get these awesome glasses. They are for sale on the website. Check them out, or you can contact me directly on Facebook Messenger. I will sell them that way also. They're $15 a piece. All right, are we ready to barrel bash this? Now, you get to go first on the nose. I gotta see, because you are Young Nose.
Okay. So the nose on this one, I enjoy the nose on this one. It is very pleasant, very subtle. It's different for the fact that most of the time we're drinking bourbon, so it's always like a sweet, oaky nose kind of a thing. This is slightly fruity. It's got a lot of floral notes to it. some herbs in there, and when I got on the initial, and then after you take the first sip and you go back to the nose, that's where it gets really interesting, because then it adds that creamy, the sweetness kind of takes over, those herbal notes from the beginning kind of drift off. So you were talking about rule breaking, and I'm breaking some rules because I'm giving this nose a 5.
So you're going to give this nose a 4 with a bedup up.
No.
That's the only way you can give it 5.
Well, I'm making it a 5.
I'm going to just give it 4.
You can think of it how you want, but I'm saving my bedup up for later.
Well, then you're going to have to give 2 bedup ups and break it.
Okay, then fine.
Right.
Bedup up.
A 5. All right. So in my opinion, this nose is it's the weakest part to me of this whiskey. So I smell the vanilla, I smell the honey or the white chocolate, and I just smelled, on one side I picked up the rosemary because it was spicy, like a spice like rosemary, and then the other side I picked up the sandalwood. For the first time in my life, I picked up a sandalwood smell. It wasn't an actual oak smell. It actually smelled like sandalwood essential oils, okay? So I was able to pick that up, which I was surprised. So it's more complex. So initially, until I did that last nosing, I was going to give this a 2. Yeah, I'm going to give it. I'm going to give this a 4.
You did the opposite of what Xavier did last night.
I'm going to give this a 4 with 16 bedup ups. A 2. But when I got that more complexity, I give this nose a 3.
All right. You did the opposite of what Xavier did last night.
So you gave it a 5 out of 4 nose. And I gave it a 3 out of 4. Now we're on to taste.
All right, you can go first on taste.
You don't have to think about that. I mean, I'm a caramel guy. I'm a vanilla guy, but I'm also a white chocolate guy. And the fact that I get white chocolate and then a little bit of a spiciness that's there, and this whatever, I mean, and the front of this is so sweet. I didn't understand before I tasted it what honey-like sweetness is. It's honey-like sweetness is exactly what it is. It's sweet, but it's not honey. It's more like nectar.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I give this, for taste, I give it a 4 out of 4. I give it a 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5. All right.
We get to go 5 on that.
The taste on this one is very good also. I really enjoyed the sweetness. I enjoyed the mid palate with, a little bit of a citrus note there. A little bit of a dry wood at the back palate with that spice, that black pepper taste. It really all meshes well. That sweetness, you keep saying white chocolate, and now when I tasted it just now, I got the white chocolate. I was able to taste what you were talking about. So that was actually pretty interesting. Well, and the sweetness just carries on throughout the whole mouthfeel as well, which that's, I know, going into body, but that sweetness is really what kicks it up a notch. But I give this a 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. Alrighty. Now, what people, the power of suggestion is very strong when you're tasting whiskey. Okay, there's no doubt about it. But in my opinion, why some people the power of suggestion is so important is that if somebody tastes something in the whiskey that you're not readily familiar with, let's just say you don't cardamom, like you don't know what that, you right off the bat, you don't know what cardamom tastes or smells like. You've smelled it, but it's not part of your core memories. Okay. And then someone tastes cardamom and you basically remember when they say that what cardamom tastes like, and then you take a sip of the whiskey. If you can taste that now, because it sparked it, then that adds a familiar taste to your palate. It's kind of like, it's not like you're tasting it because they suggested it. The only reason why you didn't taste it is because you didn't know the taste or smell that was in it. And then you were able to associate it with that when someone mentioned it.
Yep.
That's why it's always good to do your tasting notes first, your own, then read it off of other people's and see what you get.
Yep.
All right. So we are on body, and I'm going to go first on body.
Okay.
I give this a 4 out of 4 on body. Let's go. Oh, we didn't do this.
Did you just say but up?
I don't know why.
Because you gave it a 5 out of 5, not a 5 with a but up.
No but up. So
No but up. That was a preemptive
now,
but up.
So now on body, I give it a 4. Out of 4. Now the body on this, it's probably the first 86 proof bourbon I've ever given a 4 out of 4. I usually think that lower proofs don't supply the mouth feel that this supplies. One of the things that I would have to say that it seems like everybody's definition of what body and finish is always different, especially Xavier. Like when I rate my body, I don't rate it based off of what it tastes like. Like I said, you could taste a really shitty bourbon and you could get manure and cat piss.
You better not be getting manure taste.
No, but I'm just saying you could, but it could have a good body because it is a full manure cat piss mouth.
Like if at least go with Old Man Pea, because then that's something that you had described with rye whiskey with the Heaven's Door episode.
I mean, I've scooped litter boxes.
But you're not tasting the poop.
I don't know. Sometimes the litter gets it's all going everywhere.
This whiskey has cat box ammonia.
That damn cat jumps in while you're doing it, or you're doing it and it just feels it has to go right when you're doing it, and then the smell fills your mouth. So I'm just gonna tell you, when it comes to that shit, I've smelled and tasted it before, not in a chewing manner, but
I don't know why, but this conversation about cat box just reminded me of the conversation that you and Mike Miles had like a couple years ago about him sweeping cat shit out of the warehouse before it burnt down.
That's why it burnt down, probably. You wanted to get rid of the cats.
Oh my god. Anyway.
So the body on this is a 4 out of 4. It's like I said, it was a surprising body for this. So I gave it a 4 out of 4. And right now I'm having white chocolate finish, but not stopping.
Some white chocolate finish. All right. The body on this one is definitely a step up for an 86 proof. You would think it'd be thin, but it definitely coats your mouth. It's not a creamy, thick mouthfeel like higher proofed bourbon or a barrel strength or anything like that. So to compare it against something like that wouldn't be fair. But to compare it to something like we had in a scotch or something else like that, it's definitely not oily. It has a thin creaminess to it, but it's not overly thick. It's not pudding. It's not, ice cream or anything like that. But it definitely is enjoyable. So I give this a 4 out of 4 as well.
Wow.
So we're tied at the moment just because of my butt up on the nose.
No.
No?
You're one ahead.
Oh, wow. That's rare.
Yeah, you're one ahead. All right. So you get to go finish first.
That's right. Because you gave the body a 3 out of 4.
Yeah,
right.
The nose. I gave the nose a 3 out of 4.
The nose a 3 out of 4. Yeah.
Just because the complexity added to it, not just being, but I mean, the nose does not fill your nostrils the same way that the body feels the taste in your mouth. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Not
I
the same.
disagree.
I know. That's you. That's
Yeah,
why they
so-
call you Young Nose.
I really like the nose on this one, but the taste on this one is also a really good point on this one. It's a long finish. It has a nice warmth at the beginning, but then the heat in your mouth and throat kind of settle down, but the warmth kind of stays in there. You know what I mean? It helps keep you warm. But the taste on this finish is also very incredible. I have a nice vanilla, nice slight oak, a nice. It's been a while since I've had a sip, so I'm basing it off of what I'm tasting right now. But it's the spiciness is not there, so it's not like a rough finish. But like you said, this would be enjoyable to have on your palate when you're ready to go to bed after you've already brushed your teeth, providing that your toothpaste doesn't alter the taste and everything. You
Well,
know
the
what I mean?
toothpaste
So,
has to already have dissipated. Then you have,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So maybe
right.
brush your teeth about 9 and about 10 o'clock right before you're just down that baby.
Yeah.
Get
So
it right.
in that case, yeah, it definitely this would be enjoyable to have to linger in my mouth throughout the night. It's a nice soft sweet. It's got still some notes of some herbal, some floralness in there, a little bit of that that rosemary, the rose taste in the nose and stuff. But so I give this finish a 4 out of 5.
A 4 out of 5. All right, that puts you at 17 out of 18 total.
Yep.
Now this finish is everything I want in a finish except for intensity. It's a very long but very mellow, relaxing finish.
Yep.
There's some finishes, so
You
for
put
me to be that 5, I want to have the tastes, but they got to be stronger, not longer, because length is still there.
Oh,
So I'm going to
Dude.
rate what?
I just got the sandalwood
Like I said,
on the taste.
yeah,
Like, dude,
I get the
I didn't get that before.
Yeah,
I may have to go back to my taste rating.
just so you know. Okay, that is a rule that's not being broken. Wait, we make rules to be broken. So if you want to go back, but you got 17 out of 18. So I get the rosemary on the taste, but on this finish, it's white chocolate all day long. There's a little bit of oak, a little bit mild of just a little bit, that little bit of what Japanese oak.
Yeah, the Mizunara.
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 I'm tasting that. So I really enjoy the finish, so I also give it a 4 out of 5, which then puts my rating at a 16 out of 18.
Oh, I beat you by 1.
which it's happened many times before.
Yeah.
But there's no beating anybody here. It means that the Scotchy Bourbon Boys, when it comes to this harmony, Hibiki Japanese
Expression.
whiskey, is giving it a 16.5 out of 18. And if we round up, as we do here all the time, it's a 17 out of 18. Because there is no 0.5s in this world, because that's just the way it is.
Yep.
So that pretty much wraps up what we've been doing, right?
Yep. So I have a quick last minute comment. If anybody listening to this podcast is trying to find the 12-year expression or the 17-year expression, good luck to you, and I hope you got the cash to do so. Because, like I said, I was doing a little research just to see what it was, and on the Drizzly distributor delivery website, you could get the 17-year for about $685. If you use Minibar, it's going for $1,000 for the 17-year expression. But Minibar also has the 12-year expression, which went out of continuance 3 years earlier for $950.
So secondary, yeah, it's just that.
Yeah.
I mean, I find that they are fairly expensive as far as their MSRP. This one I would say was definitely worth it. I would actually consider spending the money again, or for this bottle that's that good. I mean, when
Yeah.
you,
Who knows? By the time they might have a box in a bag of that, and you can just refill
just
your
refill my
decanter.
decanter for $105 instead
Yeah,
of
right.
$69. Yeah. So, but the like it seems like the people who like Japanese whiskey are the people who like Japanese whiskey. They're just like they covet this stuff, and it sells. It just doesn't sit on the shelf. Like I know that this it doesn't move like bourbon, but it still moves. There's no doubt about it. So check it out. If I was to suggest, if you can find a bottle, not secondary, of this Harmony, well worth the money because it's enjoyable. I can't see too many people not liking this. It's overall the pleasantry of this bourbon isn't out of the majority of the population's wheelhouse. It's right there. It might be out of their pocketbook, but it's not out of their taste wheelhouse. But this is really well-crafted Japanese whiskey.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Definitely agree with that. This is incredible stuff. So definitely a big shout out to Shinji over in Suntory for blending this stuff together for sure.
Yeah, and it's
I would pick up a bottle if I could.
Well, you have your sample there. I don't think you drank it
Yeah.
all, did you?
Yeah, there's none left. This is it.
All right. So I think you're locking up for some reason. We're trying to see if you're coming back, but at the moment,
No.
I'm here. You're not. There you go.
Jeffrey.
You're back. Can you
Oh.
hear me? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You're back.
My internet connection is unstable. Why?
Yeah, you froze up for a second, but that brings
okay.
us to the end. It's not like I can finish this out all day long in the back of my. Just remember, we're the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. If you like what you hear, like what you see, make sure you go to your favorite podcast or YouTube, subscribe, and leave comments. Very important to leave those comments, unless they're bad. Skip the bad ones. No thumbs down.
We don't want to hear the
thumbs
bad
up.
ones.
Yeah. No, actually, if when I do get a bad comment, I usually look at it and better myself based off of taking in, except for the comments where they tell us we talk too long and just get to the damn point and then give me a thumbs down. I'm just like, you don't have to watch if you don't. If you think we're too much hot air, just watch a different podcast. That's all. But if you like,
sometimes we are too much hot air.
there's times, and but that usually leaves the balloon being popped in an awesome explosion moment. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways, just remember that John is in South Carolina, so he is brown, buttery, and
brown buttery.
Yeah, suntan, oily,
Oh, yeah.
brown, buttery, and nice.
Yeah. Nice.
Nice. Anyways,
yeah.
all right. So once again, we are the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. www.scotchybourbonboys.com. Check us out. Check out the Whiskey Lives every second and fourth Friday, 9 p.m. The next one is January 28th. We are tasting Eagle Rye. So
Eagle Rare.
Eagle Rye. Eagle Rare. Thank you.
Did they make a rye version of Eagle Rare?
I don't think so. No.
Oh, okay.
But it's Eagle Rare. We're tasting Eagle Rare. Come in, join along. It's starting to pick up. I believe last night when we finished, over 700 people had picked up. A couple people on every time. You get a little more on YouTube. We're not that big yet, but hopefully, eventually, this leads to a lot of big things. So check us out. Make sure Instagram,
Glencairn's,
YouTube.
Get your Glencairn.
Online, $15 or on Patreon. And then also, we are also on Twitter and Facebook. So that takes us out. We believe that good whiskey
Brings
equals-
together good friends
and good
and
time.
good times. But more importantly, make sure that you go out and live dangerously.
Oh, yep, that does it for this one. Make it a wrap and take us out, Little Steve-O. Check him out, littlesteveo.com, www.littlesteveo.com. He's awesome.
Oh, show me
Buy his
the
album.
way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. Show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. For if we don't find the next whiskey bar, I tell you we must die. I tell you we must die. I tell you, I tell you, I tell you we must die.
All right, we're done with the podcast. Let me quick do the audio magic.
Audio. Hey, Tiny. I just realized the whole time, if anybody is going to be watching on YouTube, if your little name shows up, you are Rachel Mueller.
Yeah, but for whatever reason, it doesn't show up on the podcast. It used
Okay, well, that's good.
on the
Because I
recording.
changed mine to Young Nose, so
I usually change it to Tiny, but I've noticed when I've watched the videos on, it doesn't have a name. It does for you watching, but right
Yeah.
now, for the recording, it's turned off. I have it turned off so that I don't show up as Rachel.
oh, okay. Well, that's smart. Okay.
Yeah, I can change the. I can change the. What is it? I can change the. Now I'm hearing not in my headphones.
Yeah, I took mine off too. I need to get a new pair. The little inside foams are starting to destroy. I've had these things for a long time.
This is actually this one right here. This brand. This
Uh-huh.
one that I've had that since the as far as the first, I had the first one that kind of fell apart, but this brand, this one, these have held together pretty good.
All right. Which
they're
brand
very-
is that one?
Menuza, what kind of wood is it?
Mizunara.
It's Mizunara brand.
Okay. So it's some Japanese brand is what you're saying.
It just has like a M with like it's a chart, like it's a graph. It has
Okay.
like a electric graph, whatever. So
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, that was fun. I enjoyed that.
yeah, we're still recording on YouTube.
Yeah.
What
I
was
see
gonna
that.
say?
We're still recording, yeah.
Yeah, that was a good. You can see that it's recording.
Yeah, there's a little thing in the top corner, a little red light saying recording.
I don't even get that. But that
Well,
there it is.
It's
I see
because
it.
you're the host, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I think that went well. That was some
Yeah.
damn good whiskey, that's for sure.
oh yeah. I want to get more, but I'm not sure how much it costs down here.
Well, I could always in the next sample box. I'll send up another sample.
Yeah. If you want to,
Of course, I
I
want.
would appreciate that. But
I have
yeah.
no problem sharing whiskey. I wish I could turn and show you all the.
Yeah, I see the I don't know what to call it. The shelf.
Yeah,
The shelves.
that's not what you turn. Let me go turn the
I
camera.
I see a lot of bookers up there.
Yeah, that's all the bookers. But like I said, how can I couldn't even drink that in a year.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh crap. Look how much whiskey he's got.
Can you see the barrel over here? Yeah.
Oh yeah, the little barrel table. That's awesome.
So that's there. And then I've got my little packer shelf down here now. Then back over there, you can see
Yeah, that's the one I'm used to. Is that one over
shelf's
there?
full. Those are full.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot of. Look at all those Maker's Mark. I
Yep.
finally the other day went into Costco to just check it out, and I found that Kirkland brand whiskey, and I thought of you when I saw it, and it's like, I almost wanted to grab some because it was fairly cheap. It was like $28 or whatever, 26 for like a liter bottle. I was like, okay, but
That kind of shows you my collection.
yeah.
I like this. Do you like the Scotchy Bourbon Boy low barrel head behind right there?
Yeah, the little barrel there. Yeah, that is really nice.
That
Who
is
made that one
courtesy-
again? That
That
was
is Matt Bay, Old Man Bay Signs. He does that at a reasonable price. A reasonable price. And then
yeah.
I'm going to hang up I'm going to hang up this one, which when we were at Kentucky Bourbon Festival, Randy Prossi from this year's, he did that one, but I got to put the hooks on. It was the Canton. Barrel
Okay.
Works.
Are you gonna put it on the other side on that blanket?
Yeah, I'm going to put
blanket
it in that
here
opening
there?
right there. So
Yep. Yeah.
so they'll be side
That would
by
look good.
And then I got to figure out where I'm going to put the Luca Mariano one.
Oh, right.
But it's like it just keeps changing and evolving, Like we got a new couch. Hopefully you'll stop by the house, but we got a new leather pit group for the living room. So our gray couch that was in the living room, we got rid of the couches that were in the TV room. And we put what was in the living room in the TV room. So that's in there and it's all comfortable to watch TV again. And then,
okay.
and then we, the leather couch is all in there and it's fantastic. Although we can't sit on it yet. Nobody's allowed to sit on it.
Why?
Cause Roxy, doesn't want any scratches. So I think for the first year and a half, nobody can sit on it. And then we'll be able to sit on it every once in a while. Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
I mean, come on. I was sitting on it. So you got to make sure that if you come, you can't have buttons on your pants. You can't have any buckles on your shoes. So, you just have to be pretty much, padded room ready, like as long as if you're wearing smooth pants, smooth shirt, you're gonna be okay. There's three electric recliners, and then we bought the recliner for we bought the reclining chair that goes with the set. So it's pretty much
okay.
Everybody gets recliners when they come over, and it's pretty cool. And then it's
Nice.
It's a low back couch, like the 60s, but when you recline it, the back of the thing comes up, and then the back of the couch. So it goes like this. It wraps like this and like this, okay? And then it's this high, but this part goes like that.
Oh.
So it sits like this, but then when you recline, you can put this up and then recline. It's really cool.
Huh.
And
Where did you get that?
At Value City Furniture, the owner or the main manager for 30 years came out to deliver it because it's their most expensive furniture that they sell, and he wanted to make sure everything was right.
Right.
And then there's also USB ports for charging in every single one. Yeah,
where the cup holders would be.
Well, I don't know if this one doesn't have cup holders, but maybe.
Well, no, I don't think your wife would allow you to
it.
have cups in it anyway. If it
Maybe
had
haven't found the cup holders yet.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm telling you, remember when we bought the movie, for the man cave, those chairs, remember? I didn't know that the cup holder was there. I didn't know that was there. I thought it was a couch that had two recliners, right? And all of a sudden, that folded down with a cordless charger. I'm like,
Right.
wow, because it had cup holders on the sides, but it didn't have that. I had no idea about the
Yeah,
middle when we
right.
bought
Because
it.
it was in that
It was
center,
like
right?
it was
right.
like a bonus. Like, where did that come from?
They added that on right before they shipped it to you.
Yeah. So, anyways, all right. So
Awesome.
I think we get to go out and live
Yeah.
dangerously the rest of the day, right?
Oh, I'm gonna be living dangerously. After this, we're going to go get some hibachi, and then
Yep.
after that, we're going to the Firefly Distillery in North Charleston
Oh, you bastard.
or downtown.
Well,
or
yeah, we're
whatever.
just finishing up. We're done from the recording of the actual podcast. All right.
Yeah.
So remember, everybody,
Bye, everybody.
bourbon equals, or not bourbon, but whiskey, even
Yeah.
Japanese whiskey equals
Yep.
times like we just had with good friends, and go out and live your life dangerously. Till next time.
The watershed story. A watershed moment might be pivotal, but it might also be quiet and fleeting. It could be a monumentous occasion, a cause for celebration, an enormous triumph, or a small daily victory. A watershed moment could be a rekindling or an observation or a gathering. Any opportunity to relish with friends and family. It's whatever you choose to cheers to, who you're gathered around, and whatever's worth celebrating. We founded Watershed Distillery on the principles of community in 2010. We wanted to live in, work in, and contribute to the community in which we grew up. We aimed to create spirits and stood apart in quality and character. Along the way, we set out to form a community of our own, one that could gather together to savor, celebrate, and enjoy good spirits and company. We've grown from a tiny little still and 2 guys in jumpsuits to a dedicated team of over 40 people and 2 much larger stills. If you're ever in the area, stop by so we can introduce you to our team and pour you some of our award-winning bourbon. Creating it was our watershed moment, but we want to hear about yours.